Hello from Vienna. Yesterday I was at a trade fair in Schloss Schönbrunn and it was only focused on the no-low category. And I was super impressed by everything that was going on, and I decided to wrap up everything in a short and brief episode on the future of the category, not only in Austria, but mainly focused on the Austrian and maybe the German-speaking market. I was inspired for the recording of this episode by this beautiful backyard. You can find plenty of them in Vienna. Vienna is, for me, one of the most beautiful cities in Central Europe. If you haven't been there, this is a recommendation just to book a flight, to book a train, to drive to Vienna and explore this really beautiful and quite historical city. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to see. The bar and gastronomy scene is absolutely amazing. Food is incredible. Wine, drinks are incredible. And there is an upcoming interest in the alcohol-free category, so you will find everything you are looking for. This is episode 237 on the Vivinum Future Academy and the no-low possibilities, opportunities, and perspectives of 2025 and ongoing. Have fun. Welcome to the Pinot and Pixel podcast episode number 237, the wrap-up of the Vivinum Future Academy, one of the most interesting fairs I have been to so far when it comes to alcohol-free. And it really, it was very well connecting follow-up, I would say, to Wine Paris and everything I have seen over there. Austria is a very interesting market when it comes to the alcohol-free or the no-low category. There were also some low alcohol wines, but my focus, and I had the feeling that the focus of most of the visitors was on the alcohol-free category. Alcohol-free is booming, not only in Austria, and Austria is an interesting market for this in so many ways. When you look at the availability of technology for dealcoholization, which is one of the main parts. Some products have never had any alcohol, and some of them are dealcoholized in one of the ways that is actually technologically developed and available. Austria has no big company with the possibility to dealcoholize wine. So if you are an Austrian winemaker, for example, beer maker, brewer, you have to bring your final product with alcohol to one of the countries that have the technology available. We're talking about Germany, we're talking about France, or we're talking about Spain. And most of the producers I have talked to, or my research showed, bring it to Germany. And we don't want to talk about the sustainable approach and the CO2 footprint. We all know that this is one of the biggest challenges and also maybe the topic that raises the most questions. It's more about what is going on in that market and how do they approach to everything that is going on and to the category and the booming interest in it. So Austria has no technology available, and nevertheless, so many people are interested in it. Producers, gastronomy, retailers, and consumers as well. And this fair showed me that there's not only a growing interest in Austria, but in Central Europe in general. The conference was, the main parts were in German, so it was probably 99% German-speaking visitors. Germany, Austria, France, well, maybe Switzerland, but only few. Nevertheless, I had the feeling that there is a growing interest and there are more people that are open-minded to the category in general. And I took some notes, personal feedback, things I want to mention in this podcast episode and take you on kind of a journey, or at least want to give you a feeling for how you can explore the Austrian and maybe the German market when it comes to alcohol-free, and what might be an opportunity for you if you're a grower, if you're a retailer, or if you're working in gastronomy in a German-speaking country. This morning, I recorded an interview with Gerhard Retter, which will probably come up next week in German, with his view on the alcohol-free category and the gastronomy and how gastronomy is trying to adapt to the ongoing trend. Very exciting, and I don't want to spoil or anything right now, but he sees a big future in this category. He sees that there is already a lot going on available, and gastronomy more or less has some open arms, but some are still struggling, hesitating with embracing the category. So the interest in the category is booming, and perspectives still are very widely. So we will talk about this in a second, because I have the feeling that I can separate the visitors of the tasting area in two different groups, two main groups. I mean, we're talking about stereotypes, but just talking about what I've heard, who I've talked to, and what also the feedback of the producers was. Oh, well, let's start with this. For me, there were two different types of, I would say, drinkers, explorers. One was the group of, I call them the traditionalists. So they were mostly focused on the wine side, so wines that have been de-alcoholized and try to replace or maybe even imitate the original product. And usually producers work with grape varieties that are able to express the original style or character of the grape variety. So usually it's Muscat, it's Riesling. I mean, it's an Austrian market, so there have to be some Grüne Veltliner, but in my opinion, it's quite tough to have this variety 100% and get it de-alcoholized, because Grüne Veltliner, there are many great wines made of Grüne Veltliner, but just talking about the entry-level average product category, the easy accessible Grüne Veltliner, which made him successful in gastronomy, because there are no edges. It's an amazing, well-made wine grape variety style, let's put it like this. And if you de-alcoholize a fairly neutral variety, what stays is a mid to high acidity with a very light body and not the super expressive nose. And there were some cuvées, some great blends, white blends, which I experienced, and that also had the body, but without having too much sugar on the product. So there were interesting white, sparkling wines as well, a lot to discover. And these traditionalists usually focus on these wines, these categories, because they have their wine brain sitting on their shoulders, and they are looking for something that can replace the wines they know, they like, they sell, almost one-on-one. And I mean, this is difficult, and I heard things like, oh, well, it doesn't taste like Riesling. What do you have it? Things like that, and people trying to explain themselves, but just, I mean, this has been mentioned several times, and I heard it several times as well yesterday during the fair. We don't want to replace the original product by trying to imitate it 100%. There might be a few people who try that, but it's tough, and I would say it's almost impossible, but especially because when you talk to the experts, the de-alcoholization process takes away 60% of the character of the original product. So the category has to be there. It's important to have it. It's this transition product to bringing people to the alcohol-free category, but not to be there to replace your favorite white or favorite red wine. It's maybe for people who want to alternate zebra stripe or just having a good alternative during the week without alcohol, but it's not that you want to replace your favorite Grüne Veltliner Riesling from the Wachau Valley or your Blaufränkisch. I mean, the red category is even worse. It's one of the most difficult categories if you want to have a great product, a great final product, and there's only a very few amount of products that are, in my opinion, already able to compete as an alcohol-free alternative in the red category. Technology will bring changes, but this is not what the industry and the product categories currently focus on. And the second, which were more interested in the category, was the group of I call them curious explorers. So people that not only tasted the de-alcoholized wines, if they were smart enough, it happened to me just by accident. I started with the de-alcoholized wines, and it was a round circle. And I ended up with the spirits, with distilled products, I wanted to say. with proxies like teas, kombuchas, and these products have never had any alcohol and are way more expressive. And these curious explorers were also focused on this category because you are looking for something to give you this feeling of a great food pairing, just enjoyment while having this drink, or even being able to have a 15-minute chat on that product. The things we usually discover or experience with our favorite wine. You know, can you imagine, do you remember situations like that when you just pour your wine and it's like, oh, what do you smell? What do you see? It reminds me of this and that. This is what some people want to experience with alcohol-free products as well. And especially for gastronomy, and this is a spoiler of the interview with Gerhard Retter, is looking for this. Because you want to have a great experience with a higher price and a product high in quality alternative to the alcoholic version. And sometimes when the traditionalists end up tasting a proxy, you hear things like, well, this doesn't taste like wine. And the producer says, well, no, and it doesn't want to. But why do we have it then? Because, I mean, I'm from the wine industry and this is not wine, basically. And yes, of course, but if you're looking for a good food pairing, this can be an alternative. And this brings me to one of the bigger challenges that will have to be solved, or at least you have to face when you're looking for alcohol-free alternatives. It's a category that needs exploration, explanation, and education. So you have to drink a lot, you have to taste a lot, you have to learn more about the category, and then give people the story and the taste they want to have. So the feeling they want to have when they are drinking such a product. And this, I mean, we know how storytelling works. Brands are built, especially the premium ones, in gastronomy. You can use this as an opportunity as a producer and also as a sommelier if you want to not only challenge your customers, but also to satisfy them with a product of this category. And I mean, the big star restaurants, they already get it and they have solutions. They have food pairings with and without alcohol, juices, teas, kombuchas, and usually I would say the majority doesn't focus on de-alcoholized products, but on products that have never had any alcohol, but the process of producing them brings complexity, structure, and gives you this not only quantity level, but also the taste and the feeling, the layers you want to have with a food pairing that has the intention to give you something special. Let's put it like this. When we talk about these two groups, you cannot see this as 0 and 1, like black and white. Same with the whole category. And if I should wrap up all the talks that were offered to the people, I would say it's not about dogmatism. It's nothing new for me at least, and I was talking about this a lot. It's not about dogmatism. You can't see this black or white. It's about inclusion. It's about offering something in addition, like expanding your existing portfolio and not seeing it as the stepchild, but more like there is something in addition. And as I said 150 times, customers won't run away from their favorite restaurant, from their favorite wine brand producer, retailer, if they offer alcohol-free products in addition. And if they do so 0.0001%, who cares about them? Seriously. Stay focused, stay curious, be open-minded, and try to be more inclusive with the people who are either interested in not drinking at all or just zebra stripe or having an alcohol-free alternative. And the talks, this is what I really liked about this fair. There was a big diversity of the talks, retail, gastronomy, and some insights from people working in the industry with the category. There were also people arguing about the category. So it was not only this focus and this is a trend and you have to jump on it. There were also some critical views on it, and this is what I liked. I mean, talking about some discussions on stage, this could be better in the future, but at least I would say it was showcased well enough to give people an idea of what is going on. And there were also talks about the technology, what is going on, what is possible with dealcoholization, what is the market currently doing, not only in Austria, but generally. Germany is a quite mature market. Is it a good idea to just make any dealcoholized or just alcohol-free product to have something, or is it maybe an idea to have an iterative process of creating something new and something that really fits my personal approach as a winery, as a brand, or as a retailer? So I really liked the diversity of the talks. The tasting area was really good. There were many people in place, I would say 300 to 400 that were interested in that. And I had some amazing chats with visitors, with producers, and I love to share ideas and also critique, because we have to look at this category from both sides. It's not, everything is not like the roses and, you know, like pink and flavorish. We have to talk about the downside of the categories as well. Only this can bring us the right direction for the discussion in the future. So what does this mean for future? I mean, be bold, be inclusive, be curious, and give the category space to grow, space to change, and space to adapt. And this accounts for all of us. For consumers, we have to try, we have to taste more. For retailers and for gastronomy, and replacing the stepchild alcohol-free to something to be proud of. Yeah, this is our non-alcoholic menu. We have a dedicated shelf just for alcohol-free, so it's easy for you to find. And I mean, Wein & Co, for example, in Vienna, they have a shelf that is right in front. So when you enter the shop, it's on the left side. The same with Garibaldi in Munich. If you enter the shop at Marienplatz in Munich, it's directly on the left side, and you can just experience the alcohol-free space. And this is what I like. So be proud of it. Be upfront with your products and the storytelling. And not only in Dry January, right now it's February. I mean, you can find words like Free February or whatever, Dry March. Do this, but just embrace the category and be open-minded. And I think we will see a lot more refinement of the category. Brands will come, brands will go, products will either change or just disappear because the market doesn't accept it. And the market will, as usual, regulate itself. So again, embracing the category, being more open-minded is something that can really, I would say, just support the whole category, the whole industry. So to wrap this up, Austria gets it. It's not just the trend anymore. People are already seeing and saying that this is here to stay. It's nothing that will replace wine in the next 20, 30 years, but it's a really good alternative, something to add up to your portfolio. And we will see big changes, adaptations, and a lot more to explore in the future. And if you have ever tried a product from wherever, share it in the comments, because I love to explore this alcohol-free category. Last year, I tasted over 1,200 products, and just by today, and it's February, 19th when you're listening to this? February 19th, I have already tasted 320 products. And still, there's a lot of crappy stuff in the market, but I would say at least 30% is super good, worth to explore, and this can also account for you. So if you have ever had an alcohol-free product, a dealcoholized beer, a dealcoholized wine, and it was shitty, this is normal, guys. Taste whatever you can get your hands on, share what you have explored and what you really liked in the comments, or send me an email with your list at podcast@pinotpixel.com. And right now, have a great week. See you on Saturday with the weekly update. Ciao, ciao.